Tonight on News Channel 9 at 10, an emotional day in the Senate. Why gun control advocates across the country are celebrating. A frightening sight for some Mississippi residents. Find out where the stormy weather is heading next. And a Syracuse man going back to prison for sexually assaulting a 76-year-old woman.
From WSYR 9.2 Syracuse, this is News Channel 9 at 10.
Good evening, I'm Christy Casciano. Our top story tonight, a Syracuse man is going back to prison after a jury found him guilty on all counts of sexually assaulting an elderly Syracuse woman. Vincent Torres was originally sentenced in 2011 to almost a century in prison after being found guilty with, among other crimes, sexually abusing and sodomizing a 76-year-old woman in 2003. But last July, Torres was granted a retrial because his wife wasn't able to sit in on the jury selection. According to the daughter of the abused woman, the retrial took its toll on the whole family.
Shame on him. He's made this family a mess. I should have never come to this, and we were devastated. My mother's been agonizing since June of last year when he made bail, and the Court of Appeals overturned his conviction.
Torres will be sentenced on May 10th and now faces 87 years in prison. Staying in Onondaga County now, accused kidnapper, rapist, and murderer David Renz will be back in court tomorrow morning. The Cicero man will be arraigned on the charges listed in a 37-count indictment. The district attorney's office released that yesterday. The DA's office says the 29-year-old Renz ambushed Liverpool school librarian Lori Bresnahan and a 10-year-old child in the parking lot of Great Northern Mall last month as they left a gymnastics class. DA Bill Fitzpatrick says his office will settle for nothing less than the maximum penalty of life without parole for Renz. In Syracuse, the lawyer for well-known personal injury lawyer Martin Rothschild is demanding his client's computers, which were seized by investigators in the search for child pornography. Then they want them returned to Rothschild. Steve Sabino, who represents Rothschild, says the computers need to be returned to protect the privacy of Rothschild's former clients. Rothschild pleaded guilty last week to possessing child pornography. As part of that plea agreement, he gave up his law practice. Rothschild will also be sentenced to 3 years in prison, and he must register as a sex offender after his release. In an effort to put his scandalous past behind him, former Congressman Anthony Weiner is considering a return to politics. In an interview with the New York Times Magazine, he said he might run for mayor of New York City. Weiner says he's already spent $100,000 on polling and research, and he reportedly has $4.5 million in cash to start a campaign. In the article, his pollster says most of the voters were willing to give Weiner a second chance, but also wanted him to know what he's been doing since he left Congress and if he's learned from his mistakes. Weiner resigned in 2011 after sending a lewd photo via Twitter. New tonight, a major breakthrough for gun control advocates with families of gun violence victims from Sandy Hook, Aurora, and Virginia Tech watching. Senate Democrats and a smaller group of Republicans voted 68-31 to clear the way for continued debate on implementing tougher gun legislation.
We're here to demand action and demand that we receive a vote and that we are allowed to have some peace of mind that our loved ones didn't die for no reason. They died protecting the children that they love, and they deserve to have a vote.
After the vote, some of the Newtown families said they want Congress to consider tougher gun measures, but are happy with the debate on gun control, that it will be moving forward. Among those families in Washington today pushing for stricter gun laws was the family of Daniel Barden, who died inside his classroom at Sandy Hook in December. Here in Central New York, a special event is being planned in the boy's honor. A 5K obstacle race is scheduled for Saturday in Utica to remember the first grader. The Bardens have no family ties to Central New York, but their next-door neighbor, Maggie, was a good friend of Daniel's and a fellow student at Sandy Hook who escaped unharmed. Maggie's aunt and uncle live in Central New York and knew Daniel's parents from their visits to Connecticut. They wanted to do something to help the Barden family financially and emotionally.
When you go to a funeral like this and you experience grief like we did with this family, you know that the only way you can heal is by giving back to them in some way.
If you're interested in attending the run in honor of Daniel, it's this Saturday at MKJ Farms in Deansboro. Registration starts at 7 in the morning. The race begins at 9 a.m. As the Senate continues to debate over tougher gun control laws, stores throughout central New York are finding it hard to keep certain kinds of ammunition on the shelves. News Channel 9's Jeff Kulikowski tells us how the shortage is affecting everyone with a gun. The DeWitt Police Department says it's so unpredictable to know when their orders of ammunition will arrive that, to be safe, they'll be ordering the next couple of weeks for shipments happening in 2014. In Texas, 2 people are dead, more than 40 injured after a charter bus crashed this morning headed to a casino. It happened in Irving, about 15 miles outside of Dallas. This was the scene on State Highway 161. Authorities say the Cardinal Coach Line bus slid off the highway, hit a concrete barrier, then flipped onto its side, pinning people under the bus. Ambulances arrived within minutes, and crews used emergency exits on top of the bus to pull passengers to safety. Many of the 30 people on board the bus were elderly. It's still unclear how many were seriously hurt and why the bus driver lost control. Nearly 3.5 million vehicles made by Toyota, Nissan, Honda, Mazda are all being recalled worldwide for defective airbags. The airbags were provided by Japanese-based supplier Takata Corporation. There is concern over whether they inflate properly. The automakers say they're aware of a few incidents related to the issue, but no injuries or deaths have been reported. The companies are still in the process of figuring out what models will be impacted. For more information and links to each company's policies on recalls, go to 9WSYR.com. A powerful storm system is causing a lot of damage across the southeast tonight. This is video out of Noxubee County, Mississippi. A tornado wreaked havoc this afternoon.
I'm looking at it right now. We don't need to get in.
The twister caught in this home video destroyed mobile homes, uprooted trees, and overturned an 18-wheeler. At least one person was reported dead after the twister tore through. There are also confirmed reports of damage to several buildings and widespread power outages. These severe storms are part of a complex weather system that's brought snow to some and extreme heat to others. The thunderstorms are expected to move east tomorrow to Georgia and Florida. Fortunately, we don't have to deal with those tornadoes and intense weather in central New York, but there's going to be a little bit of rain this weekend. For more on how much rain we should expect, let's turn to Storm Team Chief Meteorologist Dave Longley.